What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Bearded Fireflies Wrestling Podcast. Today, Saturday, January 13th, year of our Lord, year of the dragon, year of the motherfucking bull,
Year of our tribal chief.
the year of our tribal chief, the year of our bull, the Rock, because the Rock returned. We're going to get into all that madness, facepalm. But before we do, Chris, how was your week?
My week was okay. A lot of grieving rather. Got to honor one of my friends that I lost 4 years ago. Yeah, man, just kind of unplugged from social media, unplugged from everything for a couple days. I still haven't fully come back yet. But yeah, man, my week was okay, man. How was yours?
My week was all right, man. I was working on trying to find the motivation to step back into things. Step back into my routine after having a mini vacay. Went to North Carolina, like I said last week, got to ride some horses. Wrestle a ram. We're gonna dub that into, you know what? Next week is the year of the ram.
Bet.
Year of the ram. Anyways, I was trying to find myself getting back into the flow of things, and really get back into kind of how I was doing stuff. What was
really quick?
What's up?
I said, which really quick, I wanted to bring up a video that you recently did about why you haven't been talking about the things that you were talking about, and it's just strictly wrestling stuff.
Yeah,
I genuinely appreciated it because I feel like the last this will be 4 years since I've been in therapy, but I genuinely feel like the last 4 years have been nothing but talking and sharing our journey and sharing in the group, sharing on podcasts and whatnot. And while we're healing, we obviously want to uplift others around us, but you basically saying that you're trying to stay in your lane while also doing other things and not wanting to, I guess, not overshare, but I guess just try to get to a place where you feel is most comfortable for you to share everything.
Yeah. I said that because I've gotten to this place where, like you said, I'm years, fucking lifetime in therapy, right?
Right.
In counseling, and I'm doing my shaman training stuff and healing and doing all that stuff, and I'm constantly just talking about it, right? Talking about the pitfalls, talking about the traumatic experiences in my life, the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual pain I'm going through, or that I have been through. And the last place that I want to do that is on social media, where I'm trying to enjoy myself, right? Life at times doesn't have to be so serious, and I'm not saying that I'm not serious, but trying to give somebody the perspective that, I can't be my authentic self when I talk about it because I'm just not ready to talk about it. So just giving myself the space to be able to talk about it, and giving myself the space to be able to articulate, what I'm saying and how I'm feeling. So yeah, man, it was just something I felt I needed to say, and I thought it was the time and space to say it.
Yeah, because I definitely feel like, I love talking about wrestling, obviously. That's why I wanted to be on this podcast. But also, TikTok can be that black hole of stuff, what we go through. And for the longest time, I was just coming across videos of, interviews saying why men aren't this, why men aren't that. And even our mutual friend Eric, he's a good guy, but it's like he's consumed in that, bro. And I just had to step back because it's just like I can appreciate the passion. I can appreciate, we're all trying to do the same thing, right? But like, if that's your whole thing, man, how do you enjoy anything outside of that?
Yeah, that, and that's what I noticed, right? Is what you breed on social media is what your algorithm is going to start looking like, right? So like my algorithm was all, mental health stuff, all addiction, all recovery. And it's like, but I'm missing out on the fun things, right?
Yeah.
That I enjoy. I'm missing out on wrestling. I'm missing out on DC and Marvel, people's takes on certain aspects, right? I'm missing out on all that, and I'm not getting fulfilled in any kind of way. I'm just going there to feed that part of me that is angry or frustrated or what have you. So I decided to step away from that for the time being and really focus mainly on wrestling and family oriented content, or just what makes me feel good, because in turn, one is helping me to feel better about the situation or the scenario, but two, it's also helping somebody else to step away from that monotony that you see. And then on top of it, it's all political shit. Like, wherever you fall on the spectrum of Biden, Trump, in between, it doesn't matter. We're falling in the spectrum of things, and so social media can be a very bad place where we pitfall. So I just wanted to make some wrestling content. I've been reaching out to some friends that do wrestling content to see if they want to come on the show. I know you said that you have a person or two that you want to bring on, and that's cool. I think that it can be an enjoyable place as long as we make it that.
Right, exactly. And for me, Twitter is, I use Twitter for wrestling, and I use TikTok for mental health, and Instagram for everything in between, and Facebook is just Facebook. And I feel, while that's sort of balanced, it's overwhelming because, like you said, the algorithm, it's you don't get everything on that one platform. It's either one or the other, and I just had to completely unplug from everything, because it's just like I'll catch myself reacting to things like wrestling, especially, man. Like everybody, and we've talked about this. Everybody on the other side of the fence likes to pretend like everything is okay on Wednesday, right? And anytime it's criticized, anytime it's we don't like that, they immediately attack. And the difference between us and them, and I hate using us and them, but that's the reality of that situation. It's us and them. And the difference is we can criticize WWE and not attack people for criticizing it. We'll offer viewpoints, we'll offer criticism, but I don't hate AEW. I hate their fans and I hate the owner. That's it. I don't hate talent. I don't hate whatever. But Tony Khan is a problem.
Yeah, I agree. With that, we're going to go into the schedule of things we're going to talk about. There's a few hot topics that Chris and I want to cover. But before we do that, I'm going to introduce a new segment into our shows every Saturday. It is going to be the F-bomb of the week. All right, so we're going to step into the F-bomb of the week right off the bat. Controversial topic. Chris brought it up, and I think it's a good point. And this is something that we've hit on consistently for the past few weeks. Swerve,
mother effing Strickland. My God, what a fall, what a fall. And whenever he was first getting over, I'm like, okay, cool. I don't have a problem with Swerve. Swerve is an incredible talent.
Yeah.
When they did the deathmatch shit, I was like, okay, this is where I start walking away, because I don't want to see that shit on my TV. And then when you think about it, why is Swerve over? Swerve, One Out Drive, Prince Nana. That is literally it. And people can argue all day about that if you want. But Prince Nana is the only reason that Swerve is getting those reactions.
Yeah.
And if you don't think so, take Prince Nana completely out of the equation. Swerve will get crickets, because Swerve ain't going to dance. Swerve ain't going to do all that. Swerve needs to have a group around him. Hit Row, and now whatever the hell he's in now.
Yeah.
And that's just Swerve Strickland as a whole. Swerve is a great talent. He's decent on the mic. But the problem with Swerve is he cannot work solo and get those reactions by himself. And now we're to the point of Swerve is, I don't want to say his position is being pushed back, but he's literally just there. everybody's like Swerve is going to be the one to beat MJF. He's going to beat MJF. I'm like, yeah, okay. I put a 6-month timer on that, and look who beat MJF. Joe, in probably one of the worst main events in AEW history.
Yeah. So we got George Brooks. He said, "Hello, gentlemen. Good afternoon, brother. Thanks for being here." I agree, man. And we've talked about this and we've hit on this, and I've had hopes for Swerve, but he went from main event status with Danielson. We've seen him in the ring with Hangman. I know we both don't like Hangman, but let's be real here. Hangman is a main event status, even though we don't like to say that he is. We've seen him relegated to Matt Sydal last night. That, and he shouldn't be there.
Pre-tape show.
Yeah, exactly. Brianna says, "Good afternoon, guys. I'm in the car, so I can't watch over Jared's music, but I want to stop and say hi. Hello, Brianna. Anyways, he went from a main event status, to right, like, and it sucks, man, because Swerve is talented. Swerve is amazing, right? Like all his work, from the Indies to when he was Killshot and in Lucha Underground to his signing with WWE. Unfortunately, that was cut short, and now his work in AEW. But you're right, it's hard for him. A bigger crowd hasn't been able to see him solo without anybody. Right. And so until we get to see that part of the solo version of Swerve, no Nana, no Hit Row, no Mogul Embassy, just him solo fucking Swerve. I don't think that we're going to be able to see the true version of Swerve.
Let me create a scenario. Take out Prince Nana out of the equation, right?
Yep.
Say he keeps his main event status. Is he going to get those same reactions in Wembley? No. And it's because Nana is the reason he's getting anything. Sure, you could say the Swerve House chant, but they also did that with the Usos too. It's not that hard to get a catchy.
And Judas, they still boo. They boo the shit out of Jericho, but they still sing Judas.
I have never seen a company drown out boos because of a controversial situation. Because they don't want to address Jericho being a sex pest. That's insane.
I'm gonna say it. Here's the second F-bomb of the week. I have a feeling that on Battle of the Belts, they're gonna hand the titles over to Sammy and Jericho.
100% gonna happen. And you know what's even worse? Ricky Stark is gonna take that pin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 times in a week.
Yep, Ricky's gonna take that pin, and that's shitty. But anyways, we'll step off AEW for a little bit. We'll get away from there. We're gonna start highlighting some stuff that we enjoy. There's a few key points in this week in wrestling that we want to hit on and talk heavily on. Right, first is the R-Truth video package. God, it was a masterpiece. Next is CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, their little feud that they got going on Monday Night Raw. Then we want to talk about the title change on NXT because that was big. And then finally, we want to talk about Nick Aldis as a SmackDown GM and how we feel about that. So right off the bat, we'll talk Monday night. Chris, what do you think of Raw?
I thought Raw was a very, very good show. I don't think there was any point of that show that I could say I disliked. I think, with the whole Giovanni Vinci thing, I feel really terrible that he got as hurt as he did because that was rough. Hopefully it's not a serious injury, but we saw Ludwig and Kofi. Ludwig almost murdered that man.
Yeah.
I think, and this might be, I don't know if it's a controversial opinion, maybe a hot take, but I think Ludwig could be bigger than Gunther in terms of star power.
Yeah.
Not that Gunther isn't a presence himself, because he absolutely is,
Yeah.
but Ludwig is literally the complete package in a superstar.
Mm-hmm.
And while I think Gunther is a superstar himself, he's a different kind of superstar.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of a more athletic, shit, I don't know, Sid Vicious, maybe. Maybe that's not the right comparison, but in terms of like,
If Sid Vicious and Brian Danielson had a baby.
okay, yeah, I'll give you that. But he's a presence. He beats the living shit out of everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But my only thing is put him in the ring with somebody like Bobby. Put him in the ring with somebody like Brock or Roman. Can he
Yeah.
perform? I don't doubt that he could, but I would just wonder how they would book that, because you can't have Gunther just chop the shit out of Brock Lesnar. It just doesn't happen.
Well, and then on top of that too, like we haven't seen him in the ring with any big men, really. We haven't seen him in the ring with Big E. We haven't seen him in the ring with Brock. I mean, we've seen him go toe to toe with Brock in the Rumble, but they didn't touch, if I'm not wrong.
Right. I think
Roman,
he chopped him, but that's it.
We didn't see him go up against anybody like big like him. And if rumors are true and they're gonna put Gunther in the ring with Brock at WrestleMania, fuck me sideways. I mean, okay. We've seen him with big guys like Drew and Sheamus.
Drew and Sheamus, right. And Bronson
Reed. But we haven't seen him with pure fucking heavyweights that have been in the company for a while, right?
You know who I would love to see him take on is John Cena, to be 100% honest with you. Do I think John Cena could give him a 5-star match? I don't doubt that. Obviously, no. I'm a huge John Cena fan. But I just worry of what Cena would be able to do with Gunther. Because Gunther is not – he's not a
theory.
Right, he's not theory. And he did go against Solo. Solo's a pretty big boy.
Yeah.
I would just wonder on the athletic stuff that Gunther can do. I wouldn't want him to hurt Cena.
No.
Because he's a very stiff worker.
Yeah. I mean, I could go as far as to say maybe they put Solo in, or not Solo, they put Gunther in a match with Cena as a retirement match. I think that would be cool. And also, you know, I don't know, man. If rumors are true and they're going to put Brock and Gunther in the ring at WrestleMania 40, god damn. Like,
we need somebody with a mouthpiece for Gunther, bro, because he's going to drown with Brock.
That, and they need to reinforce the ring.
That's
like, it's going to be.
Who just won with a superplex recently? Wasn't that Bronson and Ivar?
Yeah, I think so.
Bro, that match was insane.
Dude, Bronson and Ivar put on some amazing matches.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, in 2024, Bronson needs to be a champion. I don't care what brand, I don't care what title.
Yep.
He needs a title.
Yep.
And I hate being that guy who this guy deserves a title. No, Bronson deserves a title.
He's worked his ass off since he's gotten back. And he's proven himself. He's put on phenomenal matches.
I can't wait to go up to the main roster besides Braun Breaker is Ilya Dragunov.
Oh, yeah.
Whoever his first opponent is, I really hope it builds up to Gunther.
Yeah.
Because Ilya and Gunther on the main roster, I don't think any casual fan is ready for that match.
No, absolutely not. You talked about Ludwig and Kofi, and that match was great. And then the post-match beatdown, god damn it. I legitimately felt bad for Kofi, with that chair shot. We've seen that chair shot from Braun Strowman to Roman, and we're like, oh, okay, whatever. That looked death-defying.
So I've gone back and watched that Braun Strowman and Roman spot a million times, and it's probably one of my favorite spots on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Roman had distance. Kofi didn't, and I think that's why it looked better. But I feel like the impact that Braun threw it was a little
Yeah.
harder at Roman than it was at Kofi.
Yeah.
Now it looked like the leg of the chair hit Kofi. Like that was bad.
Yeah. Yeah. That whole segment, I sat there and was like I was, in between watching my phone and playing a game playing a game on my phone and watching it on TV. And I actually was like, holy shit, this is crazy.
Up to new tracks, right?
Right. I was like, oh my God. Because you don't see that out of Ludwig, man. You see a lot of technicality, a lot of tag team, but you don't really see him going in on somebody.
If you ever followed him on NXT UK, and this goes with the Gallus boys too. If you haven't followed these UK guys in NXT UK, I highly recommend you go back and watch some Imperium footage, because Ludwig has always been that good. He's just never had the chance to show it. Same with Vinci. I feel, and this was unpopular when I said it, but people are starting to see what I was saying. They should have kept Vinci in NXT and doing what he was doing, because he's literally a background character in Imperium.
Yep. They should have never gotten rid of Alexander Wolf.
Well, I thought wasn't that his request to leave?
Was it?
I thought it was. Like he just didn't want to resign.
I don't know. All I know is what he's doing now with Sanity is great. I love it. But anyways, we're gonna move on. R-Truth. God damn it. We the past few weeks we've been talking about R-Truth. How fucking good was that package?
That man is a national treasure.
God damn it. I love
R-Truth. You gotta see the Twitter interactions, bro. They're that funny. Like, oh my God. That video package had me dying.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a talent quite like R-Truth. Like in the history of this business, nobody touches R-Truth.
I think what got me the most and what had me dying the most was when he was saying, talking about, about being in the Judgment Day, and then they showed the picture of Judgment Day, the pay-per-view, and he's like the Undertaker.
I love that, and I love the baby photos. The baby photos killed me.
Yeah. And Chelsea, my girlfriend, was like, who is that? Is he in the group? And I'm like, no, he's not in Judgment Day. He's just acting like he is. And she found it hilarious. So when she finds it hilarious, it's pretty goddamn.
They're so good at what they do.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is he knocked CM Punk off of the high merch sales. He's number 1 and number 2.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. So yeah, they need to keep doing what they're doing with R-Truth. Protect him at all costs.
I would argue to say it's better than the Sami Zayn Bloodline stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so from a comedy aspect, rather, not storyline.
Yeah.
Because storyline, I don't think anything touches Bloodline. Like still.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's right on par, if not better, than the comedy stuff from Bloodline. But okay, we're gonna move forward. We're gonna talk about CM Punk and fucking Drew McIntyre. Drew opened up the show. He had a sick promo, and he said CM Punk's name, and we know what happens when somebody says your name, you come out. And so CM Punk came out to pretty much a standing ovation. And him and Punk went back and forth, and Punk was up on the ropes, and McIntyre was saying, you let me down, pretty much like saying what every fan said, and was like, you're no locker room leader. Punk said, I didn't want to be a leader, and you're actually a leader because I'm following your lead. I want to win the Rumble, and then I want to go main event.
And you touched on that last part, really, really strong point in that whole conversation. After Punk left, Drew left. And when Drew came back, shortly after, CM Punk came back. So I think that's what makes that story so good, because it's so real. And whether or not the whole AEW and CM Punk thing, we all still don't know what happened, right? And
we will never know.
A lot of people think that he got himself fired on purpose, which, I can see that theory. Because, when he showed up to Monday Night Raw, apologized, shook hands with Vince and Triple H, whatever. I can see that. But also, I don't think that Tony Khan is any kind of a leader or a boss. So I don't know what happened. Because CM Punk comes off as the kind of guy that he's not going to mess with you until you get in his face and give him a reason. Um, I never thought in a million years I'd be defending him, but seeing how happy he is in WWE, like it makes me almost wonder what really was going on in AEW because you can make the argument that CM Punk was a cancer of AEW, and I said it myself. I said he was a cancer in there, and again, because of what was presented in front of us of why he's the bad person. But then you go back to what was that? Not all in. Yeah, wasn't it all in or was it double or nothing when he was at the media scrum?
Yeah, Double or Nothing, I think.
Where he talked about Colt Cabana.
Yeah.
Like that whole thing, like I get it. Like it makes sense because I don't respect the Bucks. I don't like the Bucks. I definitely don't like Hangman as a human being.
Yeah.
I think Kenny Omega out of the entire elite is probably the only tolerable person.
Yeah.
And even that's a reach for me to say because I don't really like him either.
Yeah. I think that when all is said and done, well, so I know that every single person that was involved in that situation in AEW has signed an NDA, so they're not allowed to talk about it. So we're never gonna fucking know what happened. Period, and that sucks.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of things, a lot of gray area in there. But seeing, you said it in a post that I made. Seeing CM Punk happy, versus when he made his debut in AEW, there's a clear difference. You can see the difference.
Super big difference.
Yeah,
what was the first thing that he said?
Yeah, he was
had to leave because he worked in a place that made him sick.
Yeah, and him coming back to WWE, you could see how happy he was.
Right.
And so, it was just it's crazy. But that promo between Drew and CM Punk was awesome.
I thought it was one of the best Drew promos I've heard in recent memory.
The only one that I think tops that is the Randy Orton promo between him and Randy Orton, where he said, where Drew was saying, you got everything handed to you, and I had to, I got fired, and Randy said, yeah, because you're not, you are you, and I am me. I think that is the only one that tops it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think my biggest problem with Drew is he got Vince McMahon. The sword is a visually eyesore for me. When he comes out with that damn sword, I immediately want to change the channel. Like it looks so goofy.
Yeah.
And like the only thing I can think of is when he went to go chop at somebody and he cut the top rope. I'm like, okay, this is stupid.
Yeah.
That's like Chainsaw Charlie walking out with the chainsaw. Like it's stupid.
Well, I mean, it's a prop. It's a it's a thing. That's like when Sandman comes out with the kendo stick.
See, but that's different because that's
Sandman. He uses it.
Right. And then you got what's the name of his sword? Do you remember?
Angela
or some shit like that. It's like
okay, after his mom.
Yeah, and like I can appreciate stuff like that, man. But like when you're trying to become a heel,
yeah, I don't. Does he still bring the sword out?
He does.
Oh Jesus!
Because I always see it in the ring post. I'm like, yep, I'm done.
All right, we're gonna move away from there. One of the other things that I really wanted to talk about was Seth. Seth came out and he had a pretty sick promo this week and doing the architect, I am the visionary, going back to his roots of who he is, right? And we got Jinder Mahal for the second week. I'm fucking happy about it. I am happy that they're using Jinder, and whether he's used as a stepping stone or whether he's used in a big way, they're using him and they're playing up to his talent, right? And so one thing I want to hit on is the internet beef with Jinder Mahal and fucking Tony Khan. And I know we don't want to talk about Tony Khan too much.
Oh no, I want to talk about it.
Okay. All right. I think two different brands, two different things. I don't know why Tony tried to pick a fight with a fucking world heavyweight champion.
Right. Makes no sense.
for a company that he is not even associated with, that he quote unquote is in war with, which there is no war. Yeah, I don't know, man. What do you think?
I'm just gonna say this: tweets like that are why people are walking away from AEW.
The snowman.
The snowman, exactly. The ratings are melting just like his dumbass is.
Like his brain is.
Right. And every time he tweets about WWE, it blows up in his face in the worst way. What happened when he did it with NXT? NXT annihilated them. And whether or not it was hotshot booking doesn't matter. You want to run your mouth, you're going to see what happens when you run your mouth against a machine.
Yeah.
And every person that came in the defense of Jinder Mahal, I genuinely appreciated, because it's just like, I love Jinder, and I'm probably one of the only few people that do. Yeah. I was a really big fan of the Maharaja stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And when they did his championship celebration, I'm like, bro, culture stuff in championship celebrations needs to be a regular thing, because that was awesome.
Yeah.
Bully
Ray came to the defense of Jinder. Bully fucking Ray.
Yeah.
Bully Ray don't defend nobody.
Right. Corey Graves even came to the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like every WWE guy had to delete their post, which, probably a PR thing. I get it.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite response was Jinder Mahal completely ratioing Tony Khan. This man.
Who the fuck is Hulk?
This man got 28,000 likes in like 5 minutes, and he destroyed Tony Khan's post.
He said, "Who the fuck is Hook?" Had me dying.
Yeah, and just to entertain what they were going to do with Hook on Wednesday, I tuned into the Samoa Joe segment.
Oh yeah.
And they had Swerve come out, they had Hangman come out, and then they had Hook come out, all separately. And Hook gets in his face, and he's like, "Oh, next Wednesday it's over." I'm like, okay. If you put the title on Hook, you're an idiot. Straight up, you're an idiot.
I don't know. But anyways, yeah, Monday Night Raw was good. We seen Cody finally best Nakamura in a phenomenal match. Great match. Nakamura got the mist off, but he got the mist off in the timekeeper's face.
Bro, props to that timekeeper.
Yeah,
for taking that spot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You don't see timekeepers at all take anything.
You don't see any of those guys take stuff like that anymore.
No. So it's good to see it. It's good to see stuff like that. We had a little interaction with Rhea and Nia. I think we talked about that.
I thought it was a very, very good segment. Yeah. I was really surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good segment. I think everything on Raw was great, right? There was Jesus. It was great. Ivar had a match with Otis. Great fucking good match. Good match.
Otis has massively improved.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think everybody stepped their game up, right? And that's what I like to see. I like to see people stepping their game up. And people, actually taking it seriously, not just going out there because they got to be out there, but going out there because they enjoy being out there. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing people enjoying going out there and enjoying performing and enjoying being in the atmosphere. So it's great.
If I had to put a hole in any of Triple H's game, and that's, there aren't very many, but there are there. I think the Tegan Knox project, Natty project is done.
Yeah.
I love Natalya. I think Natalya is in the conversation and should be in the conversation for one of the greatest talents in that industry. And the reason I say that is because her and TJ have their own little dungeon that people from other companies are going to in training with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she is the reason why 90%, if not that entire women's roster, is on that show.
Oh yeah.
And that is the only reason why I refuse to shit on her. Because I know for whatever reason she's hated.
Yeah. I don't hate Natty. I just don't find her enjoyable. I put her in the relegation of like Bret Hart. Like I enjoy Owen Hart's work when he was alive.
Owen's so much better than Brett,
Oh yeah,
1000%.
but Bret, I didn't find him enjoyable, and so like I put her in the same vein as
He's also
Bret.
been around for a long ass time too, so that doesn't help either.
No, it doesn't. And like the length of time she's been around versus how many times she's held a title or a title for the length of or a duration of time doesn't match up, right? And so like there was a time in her prime, much like Tamina. I love Tamina, but she's the same thing, right? Um, there was a time in her prime where that would have been the spot to put the championship on her and keep it on her for a while, right?
I also feel like Tamina kind of was given that unfair hand too, though. Like
Yeah,
I don't remember her ever having anything significant since like maybe the Sasha and Naomi thing.
yeah, she feuded with the Bellas before then, and
Right.
and that's when she came in. That's when when I felt like was the time to put the title on her because she was in the prime, prime age to put it on her. She was a hell of a worker, but they just didn't execute right, and that was the time when she was with the Usos when they debuted, right, and so it was like the prime to put the title on her and they didn't, and then so she'd become bodyguard, she become you know pretty much like a Victoria of WWE, right? And so like
That's a really good comparison of
yeah,
Victoria. I
yeah,
would say more I would say more Molly Holly than I would Victoria, because at least Victoria was in a prominent position for a long time.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Whereas
Molly Holly,
Natalia or well, yeah, Natty and Tamina, I both feel like are just really good working hands.
yeah,
And the difference with Natalia versus Tamina is I feel Natalia is being used, and I said this when she was going on NXT too, is she's helping talents prepare for working on national television. Your spots have to be here. We have a commercial break here.
yeah,
And I can visibly see it helping somebody like Tegan Knox, but the problem is nobody gives a shit about Tegan Knox. And I, if there's any talent that Triple H has brought back that I feel we didn't need, it's her.
yeah,
Because even Dakota Kai has shown her worth in damage control.
yeah.
Not that Tegan Knox is worthless, but like she's just not a credible woman to have on that roster.
Yeah, very true. They really need to put her back in NXT, let her develop a character much better than what she has now.
Yeah.
She's a glorified AJ Lee. That's pretty much all she is.
I'll give you that. At least AJ Lee could wrestle.
Mm,
And AJ
yeah,
Lee also had a personality that I really loved.
we'll say a glorified Paige.
I'll give you that.
Okay, so we'll step away from that, but yeah, I think that Xia Li is another person that she had that match with Valkyria, and we haven't seen her since, right? Like, put
I
this
think she
woman.
got injured,
Did
if
she?
I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure though.
Okay. Okay. Well, if she can stay off the injured reserve list, then we need to put her in something that in a feud, in a faction, something that she's going to benefit from because she is a phenomenal talent and she's not being used or used properly. I think they need to get rid of the ninja guiding thing, and fucking put her in damage control.
Bro, when she came out that one Monday Night Raw to crickets,
Yeah.
I felt so bad for her
Yep.
because I have never in the history of watching Monday Night Raw or SmackDown or NXT, I've never heard an echo in
Yeah.
somebody's entrance.
Yeah.
Like her scream, you can hear it echo through the arena. Nobody reacted to her.
No.
And I felt so bad for her.
Yeah. I agree. We just need to do something with her, right? I mean, but I feel like she's like in a weird way like a Nia Jax, right? Nia didn't get any reactions right before she got fired. She got fired and she came back, and now I mean, at least she's getting booed, right? Like that's better than nothing.
Look, you also got to look at the difference of who was booking the show then versus now too.
Mm-hmm.
Nia was kind of being used the same way that Charlotte was being used, and that's
Just
constantly in your
destroying,
face,
just
constantly.
just destroying Lana.
Right.
for weeks on end.
Yeah, and fucking almost killing Kyrie Sane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very true. All right, so NXT, man. Like I said before, I haven't watched NXT. There's another two things I want to talk about, but that's on SmackDown. So go ahead. What happened on NXT? Because this was a pretty big show.
Yeah, so NXT started off with a parking lot brawl. First match was Nikita and Blair Davenport. Nikita just returned from a really bad ACL injury. I really thought that Nikita was going to win because, like a redemption kind of angle.
Yeah.
But then I remembered Blair Davenport won a deadline, so it's like, okay, I understand why she won.
Yeah.
Nikita seems to be working her way back into ring shape and getting used to working in the ring again because she's a little slow, a little botchy still, and people were trying to dump on her. It's like, listen, man, like coming back from an injury like that, you're not going to be perfect right away. You're
Yeah.
not going to be good right away.
Yeah.
There's a reason NXT is development. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Pretty decent match. You could tell why Blair was chosen to win the deadline match because she's phenomenal. Cody Rhodes had not a segment, but a video package of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Really excited for the teams. We have Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin as a
seen that.
When they first got together, I was like, I think this is going to be a gold pairing. And I would probably compare it to Samoa Joe and Finn Balor without the high-flying shit.
Yeah.
I think Braun is very good, and I have been sick of him since Vengeance Day of last year when he beat Grayson Waller. His heel turn has done nothing for me. I've said it that they need to get rid of the barking in his damn entrance because Jesus Christ. Braun is incredible.
Yeah.
And arguably one of the best development talent they have on that roster.
Yeah.
That being said, Baron Corbin has had a resurgence of a lifetime in NXT. The fact that pairing got Baron Corbin cheers is insane to me because Baron Corbin has never been cheered. The last time he was cheered was probably when he won the United States Championship, and that was a lifetime ago.
Oh, yeah.
Shit, that was almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that Baron Corbin, when he makes his return on the main roster, is going to be great for him because, one, it's going to be under Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
Two, Baron Corbin is confident again in what he's doing. So it's not just mindless gimmicks and mindless booking. I think he's going to be a threat when he comes back to the main roster, if he decides to go back.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you ever listened to the Not Sam Wrestling podcast.
Yeah.
He did an interview with Baron, and Baron's like, I love NXT because I can see my family every day. It's just a 2-hour drive or 1-hour drive, whatever it is. And you can just tell he loves everything that he's doing. Working with somebody like Ilya, who arguably is I would say he's in the top 5 best wrestlers right now. I would put him over Danielson right now. And, mainly because Danielson can't stay healthy to save his life.
Very true.
And, the whole thing with Ilya, I don't know how long they're going to plan on keeping him away. And maybe it's just a work injury storyline, which, like we talked about last week, I think there's a whole little story there with Mello. First match was Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin against the Gallus boys. Good, hard-hitting match. Gallus was actually able to showcase what they can do because Baron and Braun are big boys. I think that's the biggest problem with Gallus is they're good. And again, this goes back to my NXT UK argument earlier. Gallus is incredible. The grizzled young veterans were incredible. The problem with all these UK guys, and that's Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne included, casual fans do not give a shit about UK wrestlers, and that's the unfortunate truth. Yeah. And that goes with Zack Sabre Jr. as well. It doesn't matter where you put him. It doesn't matter how high or low he is in that card. Nobody cares about Zack Sabre Jr.
No.
When he had that match with Daniel Bryan, who do you think they were there for? They were there for Daniel Bryan. Yeah. Or Bryan Danielson, whatever the hell you want to call him. But Gallus is great. Joe Coffey just had a really good match on NXT Level Up. And I think that I hope that Gallus gets a call up and they get booked like they deserve because they're great.
Yeah.
Baron and Braun, of course, went over. Another really good match. I think they got about like 15 minutes. Nice. So this was actually a very interesting segment. They had Lyra Valkyria, our NXT Women's Champion, and Lola Vice go out and have a little promo segment. Yeah. Lola Vice won the women's breakout tournament, for those of you who don't know, and she is paired with Elektra Lopez. I think Lola is cringy as hell. I think that a lot of the mannerisms, a lot of the things she does in the ring are very cringe. Like every time that she has somebody down in the corner on the ground, she'll look at the hard cam, shake her ass, and say that she's Latina. Every time. It's not just every once in a while. It's every time. It's like, okay, that's one of those little details I don't think we need in every single match. Lyra exposed Lola hardcore on the microphone, saying that I don't need to shake my ass on Instagram to get people to cheer for me. And Lola's response was, all these fans love me because they love my Latina heat. I'm like, oh my God, bro. Get her away from the microphone.
Let Elektra talk for her.
It kind of reminds me of the Trick and Mello dynamic, where I think Trick is a bigger star than Mello. Like, I think Trick has a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
But again, we're also talking about Triple H's WWE, not Vince. So they both have an unlimited ceiling depending on booking.
Yeah.
I think Elektra Lopez is 10 times the star that Lola Vice is, and I think she should be in the position that Lola's in. And Lyra even called that out. Lyra's like, I think Elektra is a bigger star than you are. And again, I don't think Lola should have won that breakout tournament spot. I think Kalani Jordan should have won it, but that's personal opinion. It's going to be interesting to see how Lola does in the ring against the champion, because she's been put in the ring with basically nobody that has the talent that she does, because she is talented. She's a former MMA person, and she's got a taekwondo background and stuff. So I mean, she has the talent. She's just a charisma vacuum, and she cannot cut a promo to save her life. So moving on, we had a brawl to end that segment. Paxley came out and told them that it's going to be Lyra and Pax against Lola and Elektra next week, this coming Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to that match. Then we had Dragon Lee saying that he's going to go out and he's going to defend his title. Out comes Lexis King. Lexis King has a contract all written up saying, I already accept your open challenge. We don't need to go in the ring and all that stuff. I accept your challenge. So that was made for the main event. Lexis walks backstage and runs into Oba. And he's like, oh, you can be the next NXT champion, and I'll be the North American champion and stuff. He's like, oh, you're in the main event? He's like, yeah. And the planting the seeds there for ultimately what's going to happen. Then we had a segment between Metaphor talking about how they broke up Josh Briggs and Jensen, leading up to Josh Briggs and Oro Mensah. I think Josh Briggs reminds me a lot of Bradshaw. He gives me heavy Bradshaw vibes because that clothesline is disgusting.
Yeah.
Jensen's an interesting one to talk about because Jensen can do anything, and which I don't think it's necessarily good for a guy his size. Same with Briggs, because Briggs can do moonsaults. You don't need big guys to do that, bro. I say it every single time. We don't need moonsaults for big ass guys. Do I think they visually look cool like they did at Deadline? Sure, but I don't need to see that out of a big guy. Like every once in a while, sure, but somebody like Ivar, I don't need to see it every single week, because at least Bronson's splash is safe.
Yeah,
for the most part. Maybe not for the person taking it, but Josh Briggs won that match due to Noam interfering, basically trying to save Oro, and Josh won. So we're probably going to get another Heritage Cup match between the two. Then we had a tag team match for the title of the family against OTM and Scripps. Another really good back and forth. OTM proved that they belong in that spot because I think their pairing with Scripps has been great. I think all three of them have incredible chemistry together. And we had Adriana Rizzo, who is the family's like right hand person. She played a factor in the family retaining. So that leads to a backstage segment with OTM and a newer talent under the name of Jada Parker, who aligns herself with OTM. So it's going to be interesting to see what goes on with that. The family retains. Then we go to the main event. We had the Cora Jade and Gigi Dolan match.
I've seen that.
Which, I hope Cora Jade is okay because I saw that she got injured last night at Dade City, so I hope she's okay. She just came back. I would be devastated to see if she was out again, but we'll see. Cora Jade won the match. Another great back and forth. I think Gigi is also main roster ready. It's just a matter of where she can fit in. I think she should go on Raw. Raw is desperately needing a complete women's division. And then we have another Dusty Cup match, Axiom and Nathan Frazier against Hank and Tank Ledger. I'm just going to say this about this match. I'm already a big fan of Axiom. We've seen him on SmackDown. And Nathan Frazier, who is Seth Rollins' protege, is another one who's outstandingly good. But Hank and Tank really impressed me in this match. And when they were first being formed, Hank was just a security guard and with no wrestling training or anything like that. So always kind of worried about how he was going to do because he's a big boy. Yeah. So is Tank. But this match was their coming out match for me. I think it was one of their best matches that they've had so far. So I'm looking forward to more tag teams with Hank and Tank. But Axiom and Nathan Frazier, of course, won because, I compare them to MSK. I don't know if you remember them or not, but Wesley and Nash Carter.
Yeah.
But they kind of gave me those vibes, and I'm kind of having a feeling that it's going to be Axiom and Frazier against Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. That's the only thing that makes sense at the moment. Nathan Frazier and Axiom won that match. Then they had Tiffany Stratton. They showed her working on the ranch with Fallon Henley, cleaning up horse shit, cleaning horses. Probably some of the most entertaining stuff I've seen Tiffany do. She definitely pulled a Paris Hilton that entire segment, working on a ranch in high heel boots. Just outstanding stuff. Tiffany once again proving that she can do anything that is asked of her. So another one I think is main roster ready. I would argue to say she's ready for a main roster title shot, but we'll see how it happens, how she does when she's on the main roster. Assuming she goes to Raw because that's where Ludwig is. And if you didn't know, they're together. We also had the main event, which was Dragon Lee against Lexis King. Pretty solid match. I think Lexis King, again, proving that he can hang anywhere on the card and do anything as well. It's amazing to me how his presentation has been coming back to NXT coming to NXT because Brian Pillman Jr. was basically a shadow. He was nothing in AEW Dark, wherever else he was. And that's not a knock at him. That's more a knock at booking. I think they never gave him a fair chance. And I think Tony signing almost 300 talent does not help anybody. I think Lexis made the correct decision in leaving AEW and coming to NXT because I think this is some of the best character work that I've seen out of somebody wanting another chance to prove what he can do. There are a lot of people that shit on him, mainly because he was a nothing in AEW, so why should we care about him in NXT? But there's little mannerisms about the things that he does. There's moves that he does that reminds you of his dad. And it's one of those things where you have to pay attention to detail because everything he does means something. Like his ridiculous ass beard that looks like it's painted on is literally a gimmick. Like that's his gimmick. Um, I think Lexus is great. I would love to see where he's going to be in the next 6 months because he's only getting better.
Yeah.
So that match, of course, Dragon Lee retained, but out comes the 22-year-old breakout star winner, Oba Femi. Cashes in his breakout tournament contract, and he gives a power bomb at least 7-8 feet in the air to Dragon Lee. 1, 2, 3, new North
Jesus.
American champion. I have never seen a booker quite as in tune as HBK is. HBK knows what he's doing on every single level of that roster. Great show. Had some pretty solid ratings too. Excited to see what happens next week because I think we're full steam ahead to Vengeance Day.
That's awesome. NXT is doing some phenomenal work, and I think that what they got going on is something that is pretty fucking amazing. What we're going to look at next is SmackDown. Actually, you know what? We're gonna go to something that I have not. Oops, I guess I can't add that. Something that I didn't bring up, and it's a hot shot, but this is real quick. Buddy Kavan Jones says airborne all the way. Anyways, this is a hot shot. Something I didn't tell you about that I just remembered. TNA has new titles.
Right.
Have you seen them?
Yeah, they're not bad.
All right, so we'll talk about them real quick. There's only one that I couldn't pull up just because. But first, we're going to talk about the X Division Championship. I think it looks great.
It looks awesome.
Yeah. It's a whole new makeover, a whole new look. I think it looks great. Next, we had the Digital Media Championship, which was Tommy Dreamer.
Can't say I care for that one.
Yeah, me neither.
I think maybe because Tommy's a big guy, and like it just looks weird. It looks like a women's title.
Yeah. Next is Alex Shelley for the as world heavyweight champion. I think that looks great. I love Alex Shelley as the world heavyweight champ.
Yeah, Alex Shelley's awesome.
Yeah. Next, we got the tag team champs, and this is something odd to put a red strap on the championship.
It low key kind of it's a little bit of an eyesore, if I'm being honest. Because remember what everybody's reaction to the red Universal title?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about those titles.
Yeah. Another title that came out that I tried to pull up, I just couldn't get to save or download, was Trinity's new women's championship, and I think that looks great. Now I think that there's another title or another two titles coming out. They're doing a women's tag team champion, and something else. But all the titles for the most part look great, and I'm excited to see what TNA does.
I'm interested to see where they go from Hard to Kill because I have never really cared about TNA pre-Impact, and I think my problem with TNA was the problem that I have now with AEW, and that's former WWE guys talking shit about WWE just to get some reaction. Tyler Rex did it. Freaking not Kurt Angle. Whoever else went over to TNA after that whole thing started. It was just constantly shitting. Oh, Damian Sandow.
Yep.
Damian Sandow, Mr. Kennedy, like a bunch of those guys. And it's just like, I feel like there's something in the contract of these guys that say you have to shit on WWE. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Because historically, let's look at AEW for a second. Historically, every WWE person that has gone into that company, with not including a couple that are actually good people like Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan. Even Daniel Bryan's thrown shade over there too, though.
Yeah.
Like recently. what has been the common theme of all of those guys?
Shit on.
Jericho's podcast,
Yeah.
hitting on WWE, FTR. You know that almost their entire roster is WWE guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest deterrents for me with AEW is that. And I think they're starting to learn their lesson, but now they realize, okay, without mentioning AEW or without mentioning WWE or rehashing WWE storylines, nobody's watching our show.
Yeah. Very true. All right, we're going to move on to SmackDown. There's 3 things I want to talk about, and 2 I forgot to mention. First, Nick Aldis as SmackDown GM.
10 out of 10.
I think, yeah. And somebody brought this up. I saw a post earlier. I can't remember if it's a video or I read it. But most times we see authority figures that assert themselves, that don't like certain superstars, that do like certain superstars. But this one is like Nick Aldis's baseline, right? He doesn't give a shit if you're a heel or a face. He's going to treat you equally, right? You earn your opportunities. We saw it last week when Roman, when the Bloodline came in and beat the dog shit out of all 3 guys in the triple threat. He said, "Hey, your boy got a fatal 4-way." And then this week, when Paul Heyman was trashing him on the mic, he grabbed the mic from him and he said, "You know, it's going to be a 3-on-3 tag team match. Oh wait, your boy Roman's not here. It's going to be a handicap match, right?" So we're seeing an authority figure that we haven't really seen before, and I'm happy to see it.
I would say that it's borderline where Stone Cold was when he was doing the sheriff stuff.
Yeah.
When he was I don't think he was an official GM ever that I remember. Kind of like William Regal vibes too, because William Regal as a GM is fantastic. And a little bit of Eric Bischoff too.
Yeah.
I think Nick Aldis has killed it in every single aspect of being a GM, being an authority figure, because the last time we had authority was literally called the freaking Authority. And I think that was just Vince's way of saying, here's an on-screen authority figure. We're not going to do anything with it, but here you go.
Yeah.
I thought the Authority was great at first. And then when they brought in Kane, the corporate Kane stuff was just kind of like, okay, now it's kind of
show.
But that did lead to one of the best Survivor Series matches of all time, man.
Yeah.
Dolph Ziggler getting one of the biggest W's of his career.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I think that it was great. And then, we see him in backstage segments with the likes of guys that aren't being used or that are being used. And that led to a potential signee or signing in Carmelo Hayes being signed to SmackDown. And he had a little run-in with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, which would lead to a match later on. And there was a scary spot in that where they ended the match early.
Terrifying spot. And we talked about this before we started recording, but I think we have reached an age in this industry, and this goes for every single company because I hate it all across the board. I don't think every single match needs to have spots. And that goes for Austin Theory, that goes for Mello, that goes for Grayson. Grayson works smart. Grayson doesn't just bullshit in the ring. Mello is a fantastic talent. I will never take that away from him. Austin Theory, fantastic in the ring. Do I think that he needs to do a Spanish fly like that? Hell no.
No.
Because you almost saw that man kill himself.
Yep. And same with Ricochet.
I'll give Ricochet this. At least Ricochet has finally started to realize that he cannot work that style the whole time.
Yeah.
Because at first when he was on NXT, I'm like, I can already tell you I don't like him. I don't care. He had that match with Velveteen Dream. And it was probably one of his best matches.
Mm-hmm.
And Ricochet has learned to work on the ground too. And that was one of the biggest things that I complained about with him was spot monkeys ruin wrestling. I'll say it like every single time. Like Ricochet and Will Ospreay, that is one of the worst matches I've ever watched in my entire life because it's a freaking ballet. That's all it was.
Yep. We also seen a segment with Butch and Tyler Bate that was really awesome. A lot of mystery there. Tyler Bate tried to say, "Hey, we need to show people, what British Strong Style is all about." Butch was like, I'm not into it. I think we need. I think, and Tyler Bates said, you need to search inside you and find that person that you used to be. And he said, what is that name? And before he could say his name, they cut off the screen.
So here's my thing on Pete Dunne Butch situation. I have personally met Pete Dunne. I think he is one of the coolest talents that has ever existed in the UK scene. Yeah. He's hard hitting. Everything he does has purpose. Same with Tyler Bate. Now here's my problem. I don't want Pete Dunne to get comfortable being just Pete Dunne.
Oh no.
Because the breaking finger stuff, the smashing arms, it's cool and all, bro, but he did it every single match. And it's just like, okay, somebody's got to draw the line somewhere and tell these guys that this shit does not draw. And whether people are like that argument or not, wrestling is about bringing in viewers and bringing in ratings. And I hate being a ratings guy, man, but you look at some of the bullshit that AEW puts on, that WWE puts on, that TNA puts on, break it out in every single segment. And you can see where things drop and when people stop giving a shit.
Yep.
I guarantee you almost every single Monday Night Raw that Natalya, Antigua, and Nox are put on that card, they are probably one of the lowest parts of that card. And that's not me hating women's wrestling. I love women's wrestling.
Yeah.
It's probably one of my favorite things in NXT because NXT gives every female on that roster a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And Triple H has proven that women can draw without Roman Reigns being on that card. Damage Control drew like crazy when they brought in Kairi Sane.
Yeah.
And for some reason, we're just at a point where, I just don't think these talents can get it through their head that you need to know how to cut a promo. You don't need to have a character, but like you can't get just doing wrestling.
Yeah.
And AEW found that out real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We also seen the naming of the formation of AOP and of Karrion Kross, and they're called the Final Testament. What do you think about that name?
One of the most creative names I've ever seen out of WWE. Because I go back to like when Undertaker had his faction. The Ministry of Darkness is one of the coolest freaking names of all time. And the characters in there, minus Midian or whatever the hell his name was awesome. The Acolytes, Viscera, Undertaker. I think Mankind was in there at one point.
Kane.
Rude. Paul Bearer. And I think this has the potential of putting Karrion Kross to a higher level than he has ever seen in the company. Now, I think he should go over Bobby Lashley and the Profits. I don't like saying that because I'm a big Bobby Lashley fan. But if you want to take these guys seriously and you want to give Karrion Kross this Final Testament and great presentation, you don't have him job. You don't have him take a pin.
Nope.
It's kind of weird because who's the heel? Who's the face? And I know a lot of people hate that baby face versus heel format, but that's storytelling, bro. And Karrion Kross is a storyteller.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. I also seen on social media, MVP said, have you heard any rumors lately? So we might be seeing MVP reemerge and join. I mean, what are they called? What's Bobby Lashley and the Profits?
The Pride, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Is like the
Yeah, okay. Fucking bring him back and put him with it. I love MVP, right?
Agreed.
And I feel like they need one more person, Carmelo, right? But if you put Carmelo in that stable, right, you got to even the odds.
Do you
And
think that kind of hinders Bobby's group though? Like, not to knock at Carmelo at all, but he's small.
no, you could put them in a position and him in a position to run for a mid card title, right? U.S. Championship, perfect. But then you would have to even the odds on the other side. Baron Corbin, you put Baron Corbin has that aesthetic.
Bruh.
Baron
Baron
Corbin,
Corbin in the Final Testament would be sick.
yes, Baron Corbin in the Final Testament, he has that aesthetic already.
Huh,
He
I
has
like
the
it.
tattoos. He's got that look about him. He's got that if you think about it, AOP had that lone wolf. Karen Cross had that lone wolf. Baron Corbin has that lone wolf. Put him in a stable where he can fucking thrive.
I think that's a good idea. My only thing is, do you think Corbin can pull that off?
Oh yeah,
I think the world of Baron Corbin and Tom the person.
yeah,
I just worry about if he were to be put in Karrion Cross's group. I mean, if you want to get technical, Baron is the bigger star out of everybody in that group.
yeah.
Um, and him being a background character, while it's not a bad idea, I would just be concerned of the execution of it
Very true.
because we've seen how inconsistent Triple H is with Karrion Cross.
Yeah. Well, here we also got to think about like this. Triple H is trying to create the new era of factions, right?
Right.
And I love it. I
Yep.
fucking love it, right? Because there's a lot of competition. You got Judgment Day, you got the Bloodline, you've got the Pride, and now you've got Final Testament. Things are coming together, and we could see something huge: faction warfare, what
Here's
have
my
you?
thing with Judgment Day.
Imperium.
Yeah, Imperium too, right. Here's my thing with Judgment Day. I think they need to drop the titles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the point where it's like, okay, they need the titles off of them.
They need
I
the
love
titles off of
Damien.
them.
I love Finn.
And Damien needs to cash in that briefcase.
Who would you have him cash in on realistically?
The winner of Seth and CM Punk.
So a Mania cash in, if that happens at Mania.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to see him do it at a Big Four. I would like to see him do it at Rumble because we haven't seen anybody cash in at Rumble.
This is true.
I don't see it happening though.
Does
I,
he doesn't have an official Rumble match yet, right?
no, no, not as of yet. But I think he's going to be in the Rumble. I don't think that there's going to be very many matches this year at the Rumble. I think we're going to get the Roman match, maybe a Seth match, maybe Jinder and somebody else, Drew.
Maybe we get Drew and Seth again.
Mm-hmm. You know, but like, I don't think that there's going to be very many matches this year at the Rumble, which I'm okay with. I don't need to see a long, drawn out pay per view.
Right.
But ultimately, I would love to see Damien cash in. I don't want to see him cash in on Roman because that would be dumb. I would like to see him,
stupid.
yeah, I'd like to see him cash in sooner rather than later because like two or three pay-per-views after WrestleMania is Money in the Bank, and he has to have cashed it in by that point. Unless he holds it for a full ass year and cashes it in at Money in the Bank.
Right.
Before the men's, like let's say the men's Royal Rumble is last after the World Heavyweight match. He cashes it in at that.
I mean, to be fair, Edge did that. Edge cashed in on Cena. That was almost a full year.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Man. I know he did say that he's going to be waiting in the wing for whoever wins Seth and Punk. I don't know if they'll put the title on Punk.
I hope they don't.
I hope they
I'm gonna
don't.
be 100% honest with you. I hope they don't.
No.
Mainly just for the fact of, again, going back to Punk winning the Rumble. I'm against both.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you like make it must see television stuff, then okay, I'll entertain Punk winning the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
But realistically, I don't want to see it.
No, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Punk win the Rumble. He might have in his contract, because I know he said the one thing that he always wanted to do that he never got to do was main event a WrestleMania. Maybe he got it in his contract where he main events this WrestleMania. It doesn't necessarily mean he's got to win.
But what if they do this? What if they do like similar to what they did with Rock and Austin, where it doesn't have to be for a title?
Yeah.
And I'm sure people will bitch about that. But
yeah,
if you're going to have Damian cash in between then and now, I think what better way to have WrestleMania than Damian Priest walking in as a champion, maybe, and maybe he can have Drew and Damian Priest go one-on-one. I don't know. And then have the first night of main event or first main event of WrestleMania night 1, Punk and Rollins.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be for a title.
Yeah. I think my thing though is like Roman's going to obviously be main event.
If he's not, it would be dumb as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, because that if they end his championship reign, here's my thing. The men, well, no, because the women didn't main event last year. So yeah, I mean, you could put both world heavyweight championships on main events of both nights. I don't know. I don't see. I only see CM Punk going in. I don't see him going over, because I think what he wants to do is put over talent, right? So I think he'll put Seth over.
Right. I'm surprised they haven't had him have a TV match yet. But I think they want him to be as ready as possible.
I mean, he's an attraction at this point.
Right. Right.
He's an attraction. He wrestled at Madison Square Garden because it's Madison Square Garden. I think his first match will be the Rumble. Maybe a tune-up match on Raw.
A terrible idea.
I think it would be a terrible idea too.
No. I said not a terrible idea.
Oh, not a terrible? Yeah. I mean, he hasn't wrestled in like 6-8 months. I don't think that'd be that as bad, but he's also working out at the PC too, so we'll never know. All right, so moving on toward the Rumble. Now that we're getting a better picture of things, what do you think? Who do you think that we're going to get any surprise entrants this year from women?
I think that Camille Brick, or whatever the hell her name is, I think she is going to be a surprise entrant. Maybe. I don't know. She's coming from NWA and apparently has been offered an NXT contract. So I don't know if she's going to come in. I don't know. This Sasha thing is getting kind of weird because like the dirt sheets and all the bullshit journalists were saying that 95% she was going to show up in Daly's place. So I'm like, man, if they debut Sasha in front of 2,000 people, yikes, because Tony Khan is an idiot.
Yeah.
So if not the Rumble, then she'll be at Revolution. That's my thought process on Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné, whatever the hell you want to call her. I think she should come back. I don't want her to come back, but I think it would be stupid for her not to come back.
Yep.
Same with Naomi. I think Naomi is going to be a surprise entrant too.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm not wrong, TNA and WWE have a working relationship because TNA and AEW don't have one anymore, from my understanding.
Yeah, and that was Tony's fault.
What's up?
I said, and that was Tony's fault.
That was Tony's fault. I also heard that AJPW, All Japan Pro Wrestling, has a working relationship with them, so we could see some Japanese performers in the Rumble. I think we're going to get Jade Cargill in the Rumble.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope
it's fucking time.
Because at this point, like in it sucks that her mom passed away and it kind of put her back a little bit. So I mean, I understand. But I think the Rumble would be the perfect place to capitalize her presence. Do I think she should win? Hell no. And a lot of people are throwing around that idea.
No.
I think if she were to win the Rumble, I think it would be massively unfair to like that entire roster too.
Yeah.
Especially I think AJ Lee will re-debut. Love to see her return.
Yeah.
If she can still go in that ring at a decent pace, I would love to see her versus Rhea.
Oh yeah.
Not at WrestleMania necessarily, but on Monday Night Raw. I would love to see that.
Yep. Yep. I would agree. I would love to see AJ return. I don't need to see Kelly. I don't care to see Kelly in another women's Royal Rumble.
She just had a kid, so I don't think she's coming back.
I would love to see. I love Michelle McCool. I think she's one of the best women to ever fucking.
I love Michelle McCool, bro.
I think she's one of the best, most underrated women to ever lace up a pair of boots
and have one of the best finishes.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
What's really weird about the men's Royal Rumble is like, I don't know of any free agents out there that I can think of besides Andrade.
Yeah, I mean, we could get Andrade. We could also get Braun Strowman returning.
If he's ready enough, because I know that neck fusion stuff's a little tricky.
Yeah. Also, I mean, he's still under contract. Taylor Rotunda.
Man, I would love more than anything to see him on camera again, because apparently he's working on a project with WWE for Bray. So that promo. So apparently that promo stuff that we've been seeing on TikTok is AI made.
Is it?
Can't confirm. I don't know. If it is AI, I'll be really disappointed because I was really looking forward to a Taylor Rotunda carrying on his brother's legacy kind of thing.
Yeah.
But somebody told me that it was fan made. I don't know if it is or not.
Well, regardless, he's still under contract. They could use him.
I'm really happy he's under contract.
Yeah. And speaking of Bray Wyatt, if you haven't heard anybody that's watching or is going to watch, Bray Wyatt's character is still under contract, and they are going to pay his family as if he was there working. And I completely agree with that. And I think this year they're going to headline. They're going to have Bray headline.
They need to.
Yes. Hall of Fame.
I would argue to say he had the impact on people that Eddie Guerrero did.
Oh, yeah.
And I know that might be a super reach for people that listen, but I think Bray Wyatt has impacted an entire generation of wrestlers, much like Eddie did.
Who do you think inducts him into the Hall of Fame?
Man, I would love to see his brother do it.
Yep. Either his brother or Undertaker.
Or Alexa.
Alexa could.
I mean, there's a lot of names that I could throw out there. Shit, I would love to see Triple H induct him.
Triple H could.
I know Triple H is a huge fan of him.
I would love to see Undertaker induct him.
Yeah.
And I know this is selfish of me, but in that speech, be like, what I said to Bray in the ring was this.
I think he would probably have to get permission from the family, because I know when a reporter asked Bray about it, he's like, I'll never tell you because that's something for my kid, for my family. So I don't think he would ever bring that up, but we'll see. Yeah, man, there's quite a few names I would choose to induct him. Number one being his brother and his wife.
Oh yeah, hands down.
Or girlfriend.
But there's a lot of stuff going around. There's also rumors of a Bray Wyatt movie about his life, which, if that is it, I'm gonna cry the whole time in the movie fucking theater.
Bro, every single time I see that promo package they made for him, I'm in tears, like immediately.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna wear my tribute shirt to the Rumble because that was his last televised match was at the Rumble. So
Yep. Yep.
It's hard to think about, man, because like, and I say this every single time during the pandemic and when he got let go or whatever, and people spent that entire pandemic that he was gone dumping on him and shitting on him every chance they got. And I said it. I say it about every celebrity that people do that to, man. You guys are gonna keep doing it until they pass away, and he passed away. And look, now all of a sudden, those same people who were trashing him, looking at you, Jim Cornette, are praising him.
Yeah. There's two wrestlers when they returned that I cried for. One is in the company, and one is not alive. And Bray had that effect on me. And I just, I love Bray to death. That's why our show is labeled or named the Bearded Fireflies podcast, right? Because even though Bray Wyatt passed away, the Fireflies never will. So, with that, go ahead.
Who was the second talent?
CM Punk.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, AEW. That was after 7 years. Anyways, yeah, I was in Alaska and I literally found myself on the floor crying on a Rampage.
That's how it was when Edge came back at the Rumble.
Yeah.
I was in tears. I fell to the ground. I'm like, there's no fucking way this man is in the Rumble right now.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So with that, we are going to end the show. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. And until next week, Rumble Day. Actually, you know what? We may not be doing this next week.
I won't be here.
Chris won't be here. So we're going to go 2 weeks. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks from. It's 2 weeks from today. So next weekend I'm good, but the weekend after is the Rumble.
Oh shit! Okay, no, yeah, never mind. We'll see you. We'll see you next week. All right. Much love. Be good, y'all. Bye.